All right. While you're waiting for me to join your room, there's a few things you can do to prepare for the next steps. The first is to review the article that you read to defend that you are an expert to me when I join your group. So go ahead and have your article open. And individually, I want you to just scan back through the article, refamiliarize yourself with it, with these three questions in mind. Who was mistreated, right, or had something done to them that was not good? How were those people or person mistreated? And what happened? How did it show hard history? So, who was mistreated? How was that person or group mistreated? And what happened? How did it connect to hard history? So, why don't you pause the screencast right now, kind of scan back through your article, look at your annotations, look at your highlighting, and see if you can have that question sort of formulated in your mind so that when I come into your group, no matter which one you individually are asked, you'll be ready to answer it. All right, now that you've scanned back through your article and thought about those three questions, who was mistreated, how were they mistreated, and what happened, how did it connect to hard history, I want you to look back at some of the vocab words that you highlighted. Your group is going to submit one vocab word for our class to add to our vocab list from this unit. Remember, those should be high-level words, words that you're likely to see again, words that are high level that would push us a little bit to add some new words to our vocab. So look back through and maybe decide on one or two that you want to propose to your group. And ultimately, your group will decide on one word. Finally, once you have done the first two steps, you're going to watch me preview the next step of the task. You'll be doing this step after I come into your room, after you get the green light that has effectively shown that you are an expert on your article. And you're going to prepare to turn your reading and evidence collection into a paragraph. So I'm going to kind of model this for you with this Thanksgiving article that we did a while back. Let's see if I can get this into view. So this Thanksgiving article, if you recall, we read and we were kind of using as the model. And so what I want to show you is what you guys are going to be doing now that you've read, annotated, and understood every part of your article. Okay, so let's see if I can just move this over so you guys can see it a little bit better, but no, it doesn't want to. Let me move. Okay, so your article looks like mine right now, right? It's highlighted. There's all sorts of comments. All the stopping points are filled out with highlighting to show how this is hard history. So your task now is to scroll down until you get to this bottom table, which is looking pretty incomplete for you, just as it is for me. And essentially, your job right now is to look all through your highlighted work, all of the stuff that shows that this is hard history, and you want to pick your three pieces of evidence that relate really nicely to how this topic shows hard history. You're going to have a quotation plus a citation. You're going to paraphrase that, which luckily you've already done. And then you're going to connect to hard history. How does this particular evidence prove that your topic is hard history? Remember, hard history are those painful topics in American history that we would maybe just like to ignore, pretend they never happened, but in fact, they show that there's something really problematic about our past that probably continues today, right? So that's what I'm looking for as I try to choose my best evidence. And I want to look for evidence that isn't the same, right? So I don't want to just choose three quotes that are saying the exact same thing. I want to find a variety of evidence, right? If I scroll down here and see that I'm going to be writing a summary paragraph eventually, I want to make sure that I'm not choosing three pieces of evidence that are identical to each other because that's not going to make a very well developed article paragraph. So I'm going to scroll back up. I have some evidence to choose from. Look throughout my paragraph. I've highlighted maybe 6 or so quotes. So my task and your task with your team is going to be to choose which of this evidence really shows hard history effectively. So I'm looking at my first section. It looks like we chose the Declaration of Independence and the fact that the Declaration of Independence includes the words merciless savage Indians, and we thought that that really showed hard history. So I think that that might be a nice one to choose because it shows that the treatment of Native Americans or indigenous people really was more than just about this one Thanksgiving event. It was in the Declaration of Independence, which really shows this is a deep-rooted prejudice and mistreatment of these people that kind of was woven into the fabric of our country's founding. So I think that that's a really important quote. So I'm actually going to highlight this one that I already chose. I'm going to copy it. Okay. So I'm going to scroll down now to my evidence collection chart. And the nice thing is I've already really done a lot of this work, right? I already did I already identified this as an effective quote. I already paraphrased it actually. So I actually have quite a bit of my work done. Now I do need to add a citation. So let me remember who the author of this one is. Okay, Sherman. And I always want to just do kind of page number. So this was on page 2. So I'm going to add, don't forget your in-text citation. So I'm going to take out the parentheses. I'm going to make this quotation marks. And then remember, when you do an in-text citation, you have quotation marks, and then you do Sherman, and then page number and parentheses, and then you put your period after the parentheses. So your citation should kind of look like mine, where it's the author's last name, the page number, and then the period at the end. Now, good news, I've already paraphrased this, so I actually don't have to do much more work. I can just grab my paraphrase because I kind of did this as I was reading. So let's go back up. Let's see if we can find it. Okay, let's just do a double check and make sure we're still feeling pretty good about our paraphrase. Remember, a paraphrase should be about the same length. It should have all the language that we can paraphrase in our own words, try not to repeat anything. So the original quote read that the phrase merciless savage Indians is written into the Declaration of Independence, says everything we need to know about how the founders of America viewed the indigenous people of this land. All right, and I said the fact that the Declaration of Independence, which I can't paraphrase, that's the name of the document, a seminal U.S. document, though, so I did add that language to kind of elaborate a little bit, includes the words, and I'm quoting, merciless savage Indians, because I have to say what it said, right? Communicates a clear message about how early Americans viewed indigenous people. And of course, I have to use the word American, I have to use the word indigenous people, but I'm liking that it's using mostly my own language, although I am noticing, oops, I did use the word viewed, and that's definitely something I can paraphrase. So I'm going to change that to see, how early Americans saw indigenous people, because that's what viewed means, right? To see somebody. Okay, so I like that I did a double check because I actually caught a word that I could probably paraphrase. So that was nice. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and grab my paraphrase now that it's updated and reviewed and ready to go. And all I'm going to do right now is go down to my evidence collection table, and I'm going to put it in this second column, which is paraphrase. So I did most of my work for this already. Now, the only other thing I need to do is I need to do this last column because that's new to me. And it says a connection to hard history. How does this evidence prove that our topic is hard history? Okay, so I haven't done kind of this analysis piece, right? This line of reasoning where I'm connecting my evidence back to our central point about hard history. All right, and I'm thinking in my head, hard history. That's the thing that means this is a painful part of our past, something problematic that kind of persists, that shows that this was a long-term mistreatment of a group of people in our country that maybe we'd rather ignore. All right, so I haven't, okay, so I'm going to add my justification or my line of reasoning here, and I'm going to say, so let's see, connection to hard history. It's in our Declaration of Independence, this terrible phrase, merciless savage Indians. Okay, so it shows that, okay, no, let's start. The fact that the Declaration of Independence includes the phrase merciless savage Indians shows that indigenous people were mistreated in our country from the very beginning. Not only was there individual prejudice, right? Not only like did some people have prejudice, but this prejudice was actually written into the founding documents. This shows just how deep the mistreatment of this group is. Okay, so, and I probably have to say something about hard history. I haven't mentioned hard history yet. So this shows just how deep the mistreatment of this group is, really illustrating or really showing that it is hard history, because I always want to make sure I'm making that connect back to my claim really clear. Okay, so I have my quote that I pulled from the article, something that I highlighted. I made sure to add my citation. Then I added this updated paraphrase. I kind of tweaked that a little bit, but I was pretty happy with my original work. Then I added this new part where I had to make this connection to hard history, and I kind of had to justify or explain my thinking, add a little bit of analysis to show how this evidence that I selected really proves that our mistreatment of indigenous people is really hard history, okay? So I did this once to kind of show you. Your group is going to go back through your article and pick your 3 best quotes. Some of those might be the ones you did at stopping points. Some of them might not be the ones you did at stopping points. So you might have to do some updated paraphrasing if you didn't actually paraphrase that the first time. but you and your group members are looking for 3 pieces of evidence from your article, all of which relate to hard history and all of which are different and show something different about your topic, so you're not just kind of saying the same thing 3 times. So make sure that your evidence show a variety of thinking. Okay, you're going to go through this step, and your goal is to be done with this by the end of class today. So we'll be ready to write our paragraph the next time we come together. All right.